Welcome to another segment of ACRP TV. Today, our spotlight is on patient engagement and diversity, two extremely important topics and very near and dear to us at ACRP. We've been very active lately with the new Diversity Council and our Find Your Element campaign. So these are issues that we are very focused on. We've also got two excellent guests here who share our interest and concern for both these issues. It's important to both of them as well. Tamei Elliott is the Manager of Scientific Programs for the Americas at DIA. Sara Torgal, Senior Manager of Scientific Programs, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So we've really got the waterfront covered here. Let's jump right in. This is such an important discussion. Sara, let's start with you. These are interlinked issues, obviously, but let's talk maybe about some of your focus on patient engagement.
Absolutely. So at DIA, as you know, we are a convener. We are a platform that is aimed at catalyzing knowledge, catalyzing conversations, bringing all the stakeholders together to really make these questions answered at certain points. So to accelerate the conversations that are necessary to happen. So when it comes to patient engagement, we are really interested in seeing what the stakeholders or what the organizations need in terms of these conversations to be able to put the patient front and center of the actual drug development life cycle. We know that is very challenging for the organizations to actually be able to do this all of a sudden from the day to the night. So in any sort of shape, way, or form that we can develop tools, that we can organize conversations, workshops, conferences, and so on, to have these conversations and also bring the patients in to have these conversations. Of course, this is something that we will continue to be doing and that we have been doing a lot this day, especially in patient preferences that we have been developing, but also in some research programs that we are developing internally to see if we can indeed support the organizations to make a better use and to propel their own patient engagement within.
And it's obviously such an important topic. I mean, it's an obvious statement, but this is all about patients at bottom. Tamei, let's talk about diversity. It's an issue that you guys have focused on a lot. We have focused on a lot. Many others have focused on a lot. The statistics have been stubbornly flat in most areas for patient diversity in the clinical trial patient pool, not necessarily from lack of effort, but we need to keep trying new things. Talk, if you could, about what you're seeing out there in terms of diversity and maybe some of your initiatives.
Sure. So at DIA, we currently have a diversity inclusion community. So DIA does have communities outside of our specialty meetings and the products that we have. And so we've seen a lot of efforts that have been shared within the community, which has been great because that's really what a lot of people that are working within pharma companies or medical device companies, they're looking to gain insight. And so just having that space to even have these conversations have been very valuable for those who are within our community. And then also DI, we are starting our first diversity, equity, and inclusion in the drug development lifecycle meeting that is occurring on April 27th, 2021. In that space, we are looking to take a step further than just addressing the problems, but finding solutions and sharing solutions, case studies with our attendees. And so again, to Sara's point, it's very difficult to undergo these challenges and to also understand how to operate in regards to change management practices that a company will need to undergo in order to have these challenges. And so one of the biggest things for our meeting is to provide these sort of change management practices and principles that companies and pharma companies or medical device companies have been successful so that we can share with our audience and attendees.
All right, so let me ask you both before I let you go, because this is so important and it's encouraging to see how active you all are in this. And I know you're having some success as well. And as are we and others, it's an exciting time. But let me ask you, in looking at patient engagement and diversity, again, linked, but I'll start with you, Sara. Do you feel a new sense of, I don't want to lead you, but do you feel a new sense of optimism? As I alluded to earlier, in both of these areas, particularly with diversity, we've been, our progress has been limited over the last couple of years. It does feel like maybe we're turning a corner, but I don't know. Do you share that kind of feeling? What do you see the landscape for the next couple of years?
I see a lot more clarity. Mm-hmm. And for me is a big catalyzer and a big accelerator. I feel people and organizations in general it's not only understanding that it's important, but owning that it's important. And right now we are in a stage where everyone is starting to own this. and starting to understand that it's not only, yes, we talk about it, but let's make it happen. And that's where I feel the acceleration is happening, and why we are feeling a lot more things happening, a lot more conversations happening about how can we make this a reality right now? And so right now, in 10 years, in 20 years as well, hopefully. So, and replying to your question, indeed, it's a good time to look at patient engagement and to look at diversity. But I would love to hear Tamei's perspective as well.
Thanks, Sara. Yeah, to your point, there's definitely an interplay between patient engagement and diversity. And we've seen significant steps just with the FDA and their final guidance on enhancing diversity in clinical trial populations. So I think that's the right step to provide guidance for industry to follow. But I think the most important thing is that industry must, they need to follow through on those efforts on their end to work towards these efforts. And again, back to the point of change management, I think there's going to be a lot of shifts in change management practices within industry that we're going to looking forward to in the future.
Yeah, and you said something to me that really made me think. It's interesting to look around the globe and see how many regulatory authorities now felt the need to actually release guidance on these two issues, in patient engagement and in diversity and inclusion. And the one not released yet, I'm really thinking about it, and it's something transversely worldwide, and it's really interesting to see, and it shows how important this is at the moment.
Fantastic. They're obviously inextricably linked as topics, and we at ACRP we applaud the work you are all doing. It's nice we're all in this together, and I do. It's nice to see that you all share my optimism that we're turning a corner and change is really close at hand and maybe already occurring, which is really good. But I want to thank you both for joining us. This has been our ACRP TV Spotlight on patient engagement and diversity. We've been speaking with Tamei Elliott, who's the manager of scientific programs for DIA Americas, and Sara Torgal, the senior manager for scientific programs for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you.